In today's video, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. Let's jump into it. Listen, it's absolutely no secret that with every passing day, more and more people jumping into the streaming world. And personally, I think that's great. Obviously, with that comes more competition, but with that competition, more people are searching, how do I stand out? And that's where myself and others come in and how to make you stand out from the rest of the pack. So in today's video, and I feel like this is a very overlooked part of streaming, I'm going to be going over how to make your streaming background stand out. So jumping right into it, I'll give you my first tip, and that is once you've figured out what room you want to set up as your streaming room, you want to pick a camera angle that's going to be giving you the most depth of field. And what that means is a camera angle that when it's focused on you, is going to be giving you that nice blurry background like you see way back there with my lights and over here with my shelf. I don't know why I said it like a question, it's obviously a shelf. But anyways, basically your depth of field is going to come into play with however far your subject, which is me, is away from that background. So since I'm pretty far from my shelf over here, and then the corner of the room, which is way back there, is going to be making it very blurry, which everyone out there is trying to achieve. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had people come into my chat and tell me, whoa, your camera looks so good. How do you have such a blurry background? And aside from having a nice camera that I use, it's being far away from my actual background itself. So once the camera's focused on me, like I've said, the background becomes even blurrier. The closer I go to that background, the less blurry it gets. So, given whatever room that you choose to stream in or have to stream in, try your best to set it up so that way wherever you put your desk with your monitor and then your camera shooting at you, make sure that you are as far away from that wall as possible. So far, pretty easy, right? Once you've picked your spot in the room that you want to have that gives you the most depth of field behind you, now you're going to want to make sure that you're utilizing that space behind you. Because even though it's a little blurred out and you might think, well, it's blurry, so people aren't going to care what's back there, really, you can still see back there pretty easily. As you see on my shelf, I have some knickknacks on my shelf and I have a light that looks in the shape of a lightning bolt. I have this thing on the wall over here that's filling in some space. So whatever you do, just make sure you're not leaving it blank or just shooting one light at it and calling it good. Because remember that this is your space. When people come into your stream, they're going to recognize your background, your aesthetic. This is going to be you, what people come here for. Like I showed mine, I have a shelf here. If you have a shelf around the house that you don't really have a great use for, put it in the background of your stream. Put some things on it that you like. If you're big into Star Wars, put some Star Wars action figures up there. If you're big into sports, put some sports things back there. Fill it up with things that are unique to you. So when you use those elements to create an environment, it gives you a personality already. People are going to connect with you better because they have the same interests as you. They see that Star Wars figure or that Marvel poster or the coffee beans or whatever it may be, sports helmet, and that may also be their interest, which resonates with them, and that's an instant connection with the viewer. But it's important to note, do not overdo it. In this scenario, and many others, less is actually more. So you'll see with my setup here, obviously my shelf isn't fully covered, and right now I find that okay. But in the future, I do plan on adding a few things here and there, swapping some things out. And obviously over in this area is pretty empty. I have some chairs coming in that I'm going to be setting there eventually. But just because there's empty space, it doesn't mean it needs to be filled. As long as you have a few things that are unique to you, that's the key part, unique to you, that are set up in an aesthetically pleasing way, then you're on the right track. Now for the third point. This is the one that people get crazy with. They get super excited just at the thought of it, and then they just go wild. And while it's fun to play around with this, again, less is more. And what I'm talking about is your lighting, specifically RGB lighting. So when you think of RGB lighting, especially for gamers, people instantly think of the nano leafs and stuff of that nature. And while they look great and can be a subtle aesthetic in your background, they're wildly expensive, and I think that you definitely do not need them, especially for first starting out as a streamer. Spend your money somewhere else, please. buy a new camera with it. Point being, there's a variety of other things you can buy with your money that's going to go a lot further in your streaming setup than buying something like Nanoleafs. So, although I'm not Team Nano, I am Team RGB. But I don't advise doing it in a way to where it just is RGB galore. You can't even focus on the person because it's just the whole scene is blue or purple or pink or whatever your favorite color may be, and it's just, you're engulfed in it, and it just feels messy. And while, yes, I'll admit it could be a good attention grabber as someone's scrolling through a feed of hundreds and hundreds of streamers, once they're in the stream, I can guarantee you that they're not going to be staying because your entire wall is lit up green. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying just because you have a nice looking background or even bad one makes or break your stream. I'm just trying to give you the best tools I can to get an edge in this crazy competition of streaming. Because believe it or not, people do notice. People notice when you go the extra mile, when you have a good quality stream, good quality videos, aesthetically pleasing. If you put in the effort, I can promise you people will notice and appreciate it and they'll stick around. You might be wondering, if I'm not buying Nanoleafs, what kind of RGBs am I buying? Well, I got the perfect answer for you, and that's these lights right behind me by Govee. No, obviously, this isn't sponsored with my 46 subscribers. However, I love them. They work great. They're durable. They'll stick onto anything. You can buy two 16-foot strips for under 50 bucks. And obviously, I didn't just stop there with those LED strips. As I mentioned before, I have a lightning bolt fake neon sign. It's just plastic. It's very cheap. I think that one was around 20 bucks. And this right over here is a new addition to my desk, but it is a fully functioning RGB essential oil thing. I don't know. It's my first time ever using an essential oil machine. But it has RGB, so I threw it on the desk and it smells good. But the nice thing about all of these RGBs that I have, I can change the feel of my scene anytime I wanted to. If I want to make all these lights red, or if I want to make all of them yellow for a more warmer look, if I want to make all of them white, if I want to make all of them blue. Even though it seems like a lot to put all this together, it really is just little subtle things that drastically change the feel of your stream. Okay, so that's the 3 tips that I said I was going to give. If you made it this far, congratulations, give yourself a pat on the back. You have been rewarded with a bonus tip. And for this bonus tip, it doesn't have to do with your background really, but in my opinion, it still helps immensely with the feel and just overall look and aesthetic of your stream. More specifically, your face cam is what we're talking about here. And that's going to be a key light, which I have sitting right behind my camera over here. And basically, for those of you who don't know the term key light, it is the main light in your scene. And it lights up your subject, which is going to be me or you in your stream. That way you are dominant, the focal point, standing out the most in your stream. Now, for example, I see a lot of people just using their monitors as their key light and it just lights up their face if there's a very bright scene, or you get flashbanged if you play Warzone, and just like, there you go, you're lit up, everyone sees you. But if you want everyone to see you all the time and not go dark whenever your screen goes dark, then I suggest investing in a key light. I think it's a great investment. Take that Nanoleaf money and buy a key light. They're cheap. You can buy, buy a ring light from Amazon. I don't know. There's so many different options out there for such a little amount of money. And yes, all together, all this stuff may add up to a decent budget, but this doesn't have to happen overnight. These are things that you continue to add to your stream over time. I can guarantee you my stream, how it looks now, is not going to look this way maybe even a month from now. I plan on doing different things, adding different things, just to change the environment and make it more me. I want people when they come into my stream to recognize it instantly. Like, that is Scar's stream. I know it. I've seen it before. I love it. It looks fantastic. And I'm gonna subscribe to him because I love it so much. But anyways, I digress. I've been ranting a lot in this video. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, because I'm giving you helpful, good advice, I feel like, in my own unbiased opinion here. But if you're not convinced, you know, like, I don't need a key light, you know, I'm just gonna be playing a game, no one really even cares, whatever. Let me just show you real quick the difference if I turn off this key light right here. Okay, now the key light is off, and you see the dramatic difference it can make. It even lights up my background to some sort of extent. Now I could just like brighten up my camera a lot, but then that just adds a lot of grain and noise and it just looks mushy and It doesn't look good. This is even me intentionally bringing up a white browser so it gives the most amount of light from this monitor over here, and it doesn't, like, if the scene goes dark all of a sudden, then goodbye. So I think you see my point. To wrap all this up, I really do feel like it's worthwhile for you guys to intentionally spend some time, sit down, maybe take down a few notes, write down some ideas, some things that you like, things that are unique to you, some of your interests, and then maybe invest a little bit of money, if you don't already have those things, to set up in your stream background. In today's day and age of streaming, it's not just good enough to throw up a webcam and start playing a game. Obviously, yes, there are exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions to any rule. People are sometimes naturally just great at the game. Maybe it's just dumb luck that they end up taking off. But there's a very large chance that that's not you, which is probably why you clicked on this video to begin with. I can tell you firsthand, I've had people come into my streams and tell me how awesome my backgrounds have looked. And because of that, they specifically told me they followed the stream. So please do yourself a favor, use some of these tips, and go make yourself stand out.